Hi, this is lesson 2, and today we're going to be constructing an equilateral triangle. So an equilateral triangle is a triangle in which all three of the sides are congruent. And in lesson 1, we talked about the basics of how to make congruent segments. So essentially, we're going to be using the same tools, but this time we're going to make those congruent segments form a triangle. So all that we really need here, again, are the two tools we talked about, which is a compass and a straight edge. Remember, since I'm on a computer, my straight edge is just going to be this tool, but you could use either a ruler or you could use an index card or whatever you have that will help you make a straight segment. Um, so to start, you are going to draw yourself a segment using your straight edge, and that segment can be any length in any orientation on your paper. So I'm just going to randomly draw a segment. There's my segment. Now keep in mind that that segment is going to be one of the sides of your triangle. So if you make it enormous, then your triangle might not fit on your paper. So make it a reasonable size. And just for the ease of talking about this, I'm going to label the two endpoints as A and B. So there's point A and there's point B. So this is segment AB. And eventually we're going to find where point C is to make an equilateral triangle. And to find point C, we need to figure out how long AB is. And we're not going to use a ruler and measure. Instead, we're going to use our compass. So I'm going to put the pointed part of the compass on. It doesn't matter which one I start with. I'm going to start with the point on A. And I'm going to open up my compass so that the pencil part is on B and try to get it as accurate as you can. And then again, as we talked about last time, your compass should be rigid, which means it shouldn't swing open and shut really easily. It should stick in that length. So I want it to stick in that length because what we're doing is measuring AB. So AB is exactly the length of the distance between the point and the pencil. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my compass to make a portion of a circle or an arc. And I can start that circle really anywhere, but point C is going to be up here somewhere. So I'm going to move my compass a little bit and start my arc up here and just randomly draw my arc like that. So I know that if I pick any point on that arc, any point, that point to point A, because this is important here, I started with my point on A, right? My pointed part on A. So if I pick any point on this arc and connect it to A, it will be a radius of this circle. And that radius will be the same exact measurement as this segment AB. Okay, so I know that my point C is somewhere on this arc. I just don't know where yet. And to find out where, I know that it has to be also the same distance from B. So what I do now is I'm going to move the pointed part of my compass. I want to keep my compass open the same amount, but I'm going to move the pointed part to B. Now, if I drew an arc over here, it wouldn't really help me much because I know that that's too far away from A to be helpful. I know that point C has to be somewhere on here. So I'm going to keep my pointed part on B, but I'm going to move my compass and I'm going to draw an arc so that it intersects this other arc. All right, so now I have two arcs on my paper and they intersect at this point right here. And this point is a radius of this circle that is the same circle as this one, and it's the same as AB. So this point right here is going to be my point C. Now I'm going to take my straight edge and I'm going to connect A to C with a straight line segment and also B to C with a straight line segment. And I just constructed an equilateral triangle. So if you wanted to, you could go back and like erase these little markings to make it like really neat, but it doesn't matter. Construction is all about the marks because that shows you how you created your triangle. So if you wanted to also, you could put tick marks, tick mark, tick mark, tick mark, because all three of those segments are congruent. I'm going to show you one other way to draw a equilateral triangle, which is essentially exactly the same. It just looks a little bit different. And if you use computer software like Delta Math, it will normally look like this. So I'm going to start the exact same way. I am going to just use my segment tool and draw a random segment. There's my segment, nice and small. And I'm going to open up my compass so that it matches that length exactly. So let me make this match exactly. There it is. And then I'm going to, instead of just drawing an arc like I did last time, if you use Delta Math or a computer software, usually it's going to give you a full circle. So I'm just going to draw this full circle like that. Okay. I'm going to do the same. Oh, let's label this. I'll use new letters D. Oops. I'll use D, E, and F. So this is point D. This is point E. And so we're going to make an equilateral triangle. So I'm looking for my point F. So I have my whole circle, and your point F is going to be somewhere here. It actually could also be down here as well. It doesn't matter. And so I'm going to do the same thing I did before, where the point is on point D. I'm going to move it over so that it's on point E. So I'm going to move my compass over. I'm not changing the length of it. I'm going to put the pointed part on E, and I'm going to make another circle. And if you notice, that circle should go right through D. That's a good thing. So this looks slightly different than we did last time, but it's actually identical. And I have two options to put my point F. I could put it up here, right here, and I could call this point F. And if I connected these, I would get an equilateral triangle, connect D to F and E to F. But you'll see that I could also have done it down here. I could make this my point. And actually, if you look at these triangles, I actually have two congruent equilateral triangles, one red, one green. So in this case, I made two equilateral triangles. All right, I hope this was helpful. Definitely practice. You should be able to quickly make an equilateral triangle using your compass and a straight edge.